Hi, Pat Winter here. It's a really sunny day here in Northwest Indiana, but it's going to cast a lot of shadows. So hopefully it doesn't mess up the presentation too much. I'd rather have the sun than snow. So anyway, I have Pixie Dust and Paper Dolls finished, and I wanted to share it with you. So on the cover, I covered it with a matelassé bedspread in pink that a friend had given me, and it's hardcover. And then on the front, I just printed out a pretty vintage girl out of premium photo cardstock, and so she kind of looks and feels kind of satiny. And then I just decorated it with vintage laces and some sheer fabrics and a mother of pearl little buckle and a piece of an old hanky. And these were actually, this fabric or lace is from tap pants, vintage tap pants. Could you imagine owning and wearing those? Those are beautiful. So anyway, it's a little over 200 pages, and this is not available, but I just wanted to share it anyway because it's got a lot of pretty papers from several sources. And I just used the seam binding as a tie with a couple of beads. And I've got a couple things to do inside, but I've got time to share it today, so I'm going to. This is just a sheer fabric with a Swiss dot. Underneath there's going to be a pocket. And this is an old magenta rubber stamp that I had bought several years ago at a magenta show at the local stamp store, which is no longer around. And under here I've got a little paper doll with a dress on, which I just used Velcro instead of the tabs. And in this envelope, it has several changes of clothes and little parasols to match and hats. And I just used a plain paper clip with a little locket that has a couple of photos inside. And I used an old book page to layer on another paper to use as a pocket for a large journaling card, which I backed and sewed around and put a little silk piece and an applique. And put a little piece of vintage lace down here. And airport paper, just a little translucent image of a vintage girl with her little pony. And in this corner I just decoupaged another little vintage girl with some sheer fabric and an applique. And even though it has a little over 200 pages, and it's really decorated a lot, I still left about 140 some pages that are almost full pages to journal on. So under this dress belly band is an envelope, and it has just some journaling cards with a couple of sayings on them. And this is one of my favorite little vintage girls. I just used her as a tuck spot, cut it out of cardstock, and just used a couple of, this is one of SamPoole's collections. It's like vintage sewing collection. And just edged some of the papers with different trims and appliques and vintage laces. This was a stamp, a stick back stamp that I received in a purchase from Etsy, from an Etsy seller, and I thought it would go perfect in there, so I just turned it into a tuck spot for a little journaling card. Some vintage lace, some mother of pearl button, and some really old printed silk ribbon, which has a beautiful little butterfly print on it. And my envelopes that I always like to put in to use as tuck spots, and just several little tags. Some pretty lace. And I used the UniquellyElla's, her little tags on the side that I used for pockets. And this just has a little envelope. It's got little cards inside to journal on, take little notes, or add some dates. I just added the bulb pins and a little heart and one of the vintage puff sequins. And I put a butterfly in the center, which I used a little rose as a little tuck spot or a little pocket. And these are from iralamijashop, and they are her photo slide tags. I turned them into little pockets. And doubled up on a couple of different laces. And just a pocket with another little paper doll. And I use these little button cards to sew on a vintage, or it is a vintage button, I believe, I received from a friend. And this is a hidden paper clip. That I used to secure an envelope that had just some random little pretty papers for notes. And she believed in fairy tales. The little cheesecloth underneath, a little bit of stenciling, and some of the tabs are children. There's a pocket with a journaling card, and I love this little girl too. She's in here a few times. I just used a punch for the edge to make it decorative, and she's just a flip to give you more journaling space. And just some sheer fabric and some shelf liner paper to use as a pocket or a tuck spot, and a couple of tags to use as little tuck spots as well. A little ballerina slipper, vintage lace, and a piece of sheer fabric. Here's some more airmail paper with that little girl. And this is another rubber stamp. I can't remember where I got her, but she's really sweet, so I wanted to kind of decorate her a little bit with some vintage lace and a porcelain rose and mother of pearl button and a little glass pink heart. And along the edge of this lace, I just used those tiny little the little sparkly gems. And on this page, I put a pocket, and I just printed off several children-related cards. Anyway, they slip down there, and then this ribbon is wide enough and I put Velcro so it's wide enough to prevent them from falling out. And this is just a flip out, and another little envelope filled with tags to write on. And I tucked it under this flap of an envelope, which I put a corner tuck with a couple of things to journal on the back, but it flips out and it has more journaling cards and address that you can also write on the back. I thought that was a pretty image. And they just tuck in there. And then these little dresses are iralamijashop, and I just used them as tuck spots. Put in a couple of vintage mother of pearl buttons and just added some little tags in there. And here's another tab that I used as a little pocket that these tiny little images I backed and sewed around so you can jot a little note. And it's got a little dragonfly and some lace, and that's the other side. And here's another one of my favorite little girls that I just used her on cardstock as a tuck. And I love this card. So I backed it and I sewed around it for a journaling card. Here's a piece of tissue paper that I did embossed with a dandelion. And another tuck journaling card, a tuck spot. And this is a sari, some sari silk that's just wrapped around a bead as a dangle. See, I have to finish my inserts. I haven't done them yet. And here's just a little charm, says believe. And here's a tuck, a tab tuck. And it has a little fairy on it, rhinestone, that's what I used. I used little rhinestones here and there for a little sparkle, and some Wink of Stella and some stickles just kind of scattered about. And here's some more tissue paper that I just printed this pretty vintage girl on. Here's a button card that I put on several little mother of pearl buttons. That just tucks under there. And this is another Velcroed pocket full of cards and envelopes. As you can see, I have a lot of journaling space in here. And I just printed out these cute little tags, and they're throughout the journal for little notes. I love that page. And here's another of the slides. And this is a paper image that the back can be peeled off, and it can be used in a slow stitch project or a crazy quilt or something like that. Here's a little sampling of pretty little fabric that could be a little girl's dress. And that just tucks under this little belly band, along with another card from SamPool. And this little bunny is from the Handmade Club from Carrie Ann's Shabby Boutique, ShabbyartBoutique. So I put a few little things of hers in here, I think an envelope and just a couple little cute items. This is a fabric image that I just put under an embossed frame. And I punched this out and added lace, and it's a pocket on the other side. This is Carrie Ann's ShabbyartBoutique envelope as well, from one of her handmade clubs, and it just has a little story inside, of a little girl. And this is just a flip up that I embossed with polka dots. Trimmed out the edge with an old trim, and I used this airmail paper overlay as a pocket to tuck in a couple of little girl tags that are backed and sewn. And I used a couple of little belly bands as just kind of a stop, and then to tuck in some little pockets and that cute little card. Where am I? There. And in the top little pocket, I put several, I printed these on cotton poplin, and they can be used as slow stitch images. I think there's, yeah, they're basically all little girls except for the little bird. And there's some little children, but they're all ready to use in your projects. And this was a envelope flap that I received from a friend, and it was too pretty to just store, so I cut it off of the envelope and used a little bit of stickles. Now you probably can't see it, but used a little bit of stickles, sparkly, and just used it as a tuck, a little pocket for a paper doll. And she has her pajamas, and since it's winter now, well, anyway, she's got her ice skating outfit. She's ready to go. And some pretty lace. And another tuck with some cute little journaling cards that have been backed and sewn. And a little paper doily, or I mean printed doily. And another hidden paper clip that holds some cards for journaling. And on the other side just has one large cardstock. And this is some vintage French metallic edged trim to top off that little page. And this is a Tim Holtz, his little people. And I just used them as a tuck spot for this journaling card. And I added some cheesecloth and seam binding and a little mother of pearl buckle. And this pretty little girl is, this page is covered with a sheer fabric. And I just pinned on a vintage piece of very old lace. Here's another pocket filled with journaling cards. And that is from the Handmade Club, Carrie Ann, ShabbyartBoutique. And that needs some little danglies in there. I think that is so pretty. And here's another little dress that I'm using as a tuck spot. It has an envelope and a couple of pieces of paper. That's the other side of the little girl page. And this page I just punched out the little bird, and here, this little girl is a fabric image looking at her little bird, her little canary in her cage. And I put the punch out, the little bird that I punched out, I put it up there. And this little girl's hair has become a nest for the birds. And then a couple tiny little bird cards. Journaling cards, another cute little girl. And some more tuck spaces for, this is a vintage, one of those little plastic charm things that you used to get in the bubblegum machine. And a little girl holding her chicken. Thought that was kind of unusual, so that's the other side of the doily. And here's a little charm dress, or dress charm, I should say. Vintage lace. A pretty page. And just another journaling card and a UniquellyElla tab, which I am definitely addicted to. And some more tuck spot, journaling tags. And here's another fabric image. And I used a piece of lace and some velvet to use as a pocket for some large tuck tags, journaling cards on airmail paper. And again, I cut out a little girl, one of my favorite images, to use as a pocket for a journaling tag. And this little hidden paper clip is a paper doll. And it just has a page of children's clothing. And I embossed the dandelion and used it as a pocket for a large journaling card. And this little girl, this little paper doll, she has her dress, one of them, already on. And she just tucks in there. There's a little note or a little piece of paper in here that you can write on. But these are her little outfits. I just tucked them in a little envelope. And put this pretty little lace that a friend had sent me. I love that. Whoops. That's another piece of airmail paper that's I printed this pretty image on. And a large journaling card. And another tag. Collage tag. You can just slide something in there. And this is an envelope, a long envelope that I used as a tuck spot for a large journaling card. And then I put some Tim Holtz, I kind of hand tinted them in alcohol ink markers, and used the actual envelope as a pocket for a bookmark. And I got this pretty ribbon from a friend who lives in Connecticut, and that just goes in the pocket. And this just tucks behind the little girls. It's just a little note tag. And a lace butterfly used as a tuck spot, or a pocket, I should say. And some pretty lace covering a page to use as a tuck or a pocket for a large journaling tag. There's just a little short paper and some more crinkly paper. And this is a hidden paper clip. Oh my goodness, I can't think of her name. I just made these. Oh, I'll put them under the video. But this hidden paper clip, and oh, I wish I could think of her name. This is why you make notes. You should make notes, but when you're doing a video, but I don't seem to catch on. Anyway, she's a little red lead rubber stamp. And you just stamp it on the paper. Anyway, she has a tutorial. I will put it underneath. And it makes the sweetest little fairy, like a little pixie paper doll that you can turn into a hidden paper clip. And I just thought that was, I love them. And I just put a little charm on it. And a blank piece of paper, but the header is these charming little girls. So cute. And then it's just a nice big piece of paper to write on. And some pretty lace. And this little girl, this little paper doll, slips in here. And this hidden paper clip is holding a little glassine bag that is filled with all of her little accessories that came on the page to cut out. The parasol, a little teddy bear, oh, cute stuff, a little doll, a tussy mussy little posy, a hat. And that came with several outfits. I love that one, so pretty. So she's ready to dress and play with. And some more pretty trim. And another butterfly that needs finished. Lots of journaling space. Some more cute little cards. Little girl cards that are tucked in. I love this one. And this is just a hidden paper clip. I don't remember where I got these, but I know a few people have them, but I've had them for several years. They were just like a long, they were just folded accordion style little dolls, little Victorian dolls. So I turned them into hidden paper clips. And that's just a printout on cardstock for a journaling card. And some more, this is some glassine paper, a cute little image. And this pocket has a little journaling card that's sewn around and backed, and these are actual postcards. I had several of these for a long time, and I had them stored in the closet, and a snowflake sticker got on it, and I can't remove it because it'll rip it, so it's staying. And this little Tim Holtz girl, she is just a little tuck spot for a couple of large journaling cards. And here's a nice long collaged page tab and a couple of journaling cards of a ballerina and a little fairy girl that I've backed and sewn around. And it's some sweet trim, Mokuba trim, and a little bow for a little dangle charm. And the back of it holds two more tabs. And here's another slide that holds some little cards to jot some dates on, and a piece of paper under these little kittens. And a nice large journaling card. Just fits under that flower. And a little children's story page. And that is it. In the back, I have a piece of lace that there will be a note slipped in there. And it is a 4 signature, and I just put on a little thing of fairy dust and a little boho bead charm, and this says laugh, and then a little purse. And that is Pixie Dust and Paper Dolls. So I hope everyone is well, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.